Hey, Coach.
Hi.
You guys made your final roster cuts this weekend, with Maddie Westbeld and Haley Van Lith both making the final two spots that were available. What are things that you just saw out of Haley Van Lith, but more specifically Maddie, that earned her that spot on the roster for this season?
Yeah, I think it's the work ethic first and foremost. I think that both have been really attentive to what we're trying to put in place, and we feel like they're good pieces to what our culture could be. But we still want to be flexible the next couple of days that we have for the rest of camp leading into the regular season. But we've been really pleased with what those two have shown us thus far and how they've been able to compete in practices and in the minutes that they've gotten in games. And they've really taken to coaching. They've been really adaptable and really coachable over the last few days as well. So no, we're really pleased with where they've shown so far.
We'll go Maggie front row on your right.
So with Angel and Camellia going into their second years, what are your expectations? What do you want to see out of them?
Just continued growth. I think that one of the big messages, not just for those two, but for our team, has been not taking steps backwards. We want to continue to progress. I don't want to put limitations on who they are and who they can be. I think that that's part of what the communication of our staff has been, and just showing them different areas where they can be effective, and again, just not putting parameters on how they can expand their games and be locked into not just improving where they are now, but expanding into other areas of their games as well where they can be beneficial.
Who's this?
Hi, Tyler. David Moses with the Bigs Media over here. How would you assess success in year one as a head coach? Are you more so going off of wins, player development, or just overall system buy-in?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Yeah, how would you assess your success in year one as the head coach? Are you going off of player development, growth, or just system buy-in?
I think it's establishing identity first and foremost. I think that, coming into your first year, it's really all of our first years together. So it's a clean slate for everyone. And I think that just establishing a culture, establishing a mindset, establishing identity of who we want to be for this year and for the long term is how we'll gauge ourselves moving forward. And we want it to be something that's sustainable, something that's just not for year one and fades away in year two, but something that we can continue to build upon and lay on a foundation for everyone that's in here now, and everyone that's to be a Chicago Sky moving forward understands what we're about, and they can kind of disseminate that message along to everyone else. So it's being able to put a set of standards in place where we can know what our core values are and how we want to moving forward.
We'll stay on the same row.
Hi, Coach. Brendan Preisman with the Daily Herald. You talk about building a culture, and obviously you come from the Aces championship culture. Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins both also have championship history. What does it mean for this team, and especially for this young nucleus, to be able to add so many people that know what it takes to win a title in this league?
Yeah, our veteran and championship leadership and presence on the staff and on the team is in the locker room. It's huge. It's invaluable. It's Courtney's an extension of myself and our staff from the bench, and so she's someone who's been around this league a long time and has done it in this city already. And so her experience, her maturity, her wisdom, it's something you can't really put a price on. And I think that you can go down the line with the vets that we have in Elizabeth Williams and Mariah Jefferson and Kia Nurse and Beck Allen. Like, those are people who've been around this league and have shown their value a long time on the court, but they certainly have value in our locker room as well when it comes to our younger players and kind of showing them the ropes on how to work and how to be a professional and things like that, which again, as a coach, you can't put a price upon.
We'll go to Chicago Sports Network and then ABC.
Zach Badgerhouse here, Chicago Sports Network. Jeff, the GM, he speaks highly of you. He even used the word love.
Wow.
So what has the relationship been like with you and him, and from a coach's standpoint, since you arrived in Chicago?
It's been great. I spoke when I first got the job. I was very happy in Vegas and in my role in Vegas, and I knew that for me to take this jump, it wasn't just to jump at the first opportunity to be a head coach, but it had to be at a place and around people that I felt like had the same type of values as myself. And I saw that in Jeff. It took a few meetings for us to see how we aligned in terms of not just how we saw the game, but how he wanted to treat people. And I think that, you know, that's what initiated my interest in coming here. And, you know, our relationship thus far, our working relationship has been great. Love is a strong word, but I think we'll get there eventually. But he's been nothing short of amazing thus far. And I think that, you know, everything that he's, uh, talked to me about in terms of, you know, when negotiating with coming to the Sky and being a part of this organization, he's followed through on all of that. And so, you know, I couldn't ask for anything more.
We'll go back row on your left, then Elias, then Kalen, then Alyssa, then Chris.
Hey, Coach, Deion Miller from ABC7. You mentioned that Courtney is kind of an extension of you. As a first-year head coach, how valuable has that already been in just getting the buy-in from everybody to have her veteran voice speak so loudly?
It's been great. I think it's certainly been a priority for not just myself, but for Courtney as well, to establish that relationship between myself and her, and how that's gonna, you know, materialize over the course of the season. But she understands what her voice means, and she's someone that that picks and chooses, you know, when she's vocal and when she has that presence. But she's someone that when she speaks, everyone listens. She commands the room, and so, you know, there's a respect factor there that, that was there from day one. And I think that's something from, whether it's our staff or our front office, or and on down to our players. She's somebody that that we hold a high value in.
Move to Elias and then Alyssa.
Hi, Coach. So when you think about this training camp period, obviously it's a learning experience for the players, but it's a learning experience for you too, since it's your first time being here. And you know, when you look back on that, what are some things that maybe you've learned throughout this process? Like just over, you're going to learn way more as the season goes on, but just the past few weeks, is there some things that have stood out to you that surprised you, just with thinking about yourself and your own learning experience?
Yeah, I think all the above. I think this has been a great experience thus far. I think that starts with our players and how willing they've been to buy in into what we've been, you know, what we've been selling, and you know, the work ethic that they've put in and how coachable that they've been thus far. It's made my job easier. It's made our job easier as a staff, but it's also makes it fun to come to work every day. And so when you see the level of enthusiasm that we have and the passion that we have to come to work, and it makes all the difference with who you're going to work with. And so I think that it's just been a great energy and a great vibe thus far, and we want to keep that going.
We'll go Kalen, Alyssa, then Chris, then we'll move to Steve, Christian, and we'll close with Jason.
Hey, Coach Ken Lumpkins with the Chicago Tribune. You encourage your players to sort of let it fly from behind the arc and shooting in general, and you travel to a Fever team that also decided that has that identity too. What have you seen from the first two preseason games from that shooting standpoint? Will you use the season opener as an assessment of where your team stands from that point?
You're saying the progress that we've seen in the preseason games thus far?
Yeah, from a shooting standpoint, 3-point
From a shooting
standpoint,
standpoint,
things like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think that it's certainly been great to see, you know, the number of shots from the outside go up. I remember in that first game against at LSU against Brazil, and during the game I turned to our video coordinator who was at the scores table, and he was like, you know, we've gone on a little cold streak. We've missed 6 in a row, and I'm like, well, what's the important number there? He's like, 6. We've taken 6 in this quarter. So it's the attempts that I want to get up. And so I think that, you know, for us though, the amount of shooting that we've added to our team isn't just to buy into a style where we're just going to launch up a bunch of threes, but it's about creating space. It's about creating space and making defenses honest. And what it ultimately does is open up the paint for Angel and for Camilla and for Elizabeth and our post players down low. And so we don't want anyone to have to feel like they got to play in the crowd, and that's whether that's our guards or whether that's our posts. And so the ability to stretch the floor at numerous positions helps our overall spacing and the flow of our offense.
We'll go to Alyssa, same row.
Why do you think that this group will be good defensively?
We're tough. We're tough and we're physical, and we don't ever want that to fade. And we want that to be 2 building blocks of what our identity is. We want teams to know that when they come and play the Sky, that they're in for a fight. They're in for a fight that we don't run from. And I think that, you know, in a way, it's cool that it takes on the persona of the city. Chicago's a tough, gritty, hardworking city, and that's kind of what we want to be about as a team. And so I think when you look top to bottom, with our youth, with our vet experience, toughness is something that you can see when, you know, all the way through. And so that's what we want to be about. And I think that'll allow us to get to being a good defensive team, you know, as the season progresses.
Chris, front row on your left.
Tyler, Jeff was in your.
Please use the mic.
Jeff was in here talking about how the team is always going to be in win now mode. And what parts of this roster give you confidence that this team can realistically win now?
Well, first, I think it's about taking it a game at a time. I think that you know, we're not in full control over what the wins and losses are going to look like. What we are in control of is how we approach it every day, in practice and in games, and taking it one day at a time. And so I think that if we meet the level of standards that we want to, then the results will take care of itself. And that's kind of the message that we want to disperse throughout and understand. And we don't want to look ahead to any games. We don't want to underestimate any of our opponents, but we want to give every game the proper attention that it deserves. And if we do that, then I think that I think we'll be happy with what those results lead to. I think winning looks different to everyone, and for us, it's about improving. It's about staying connected and staying together. And then, you know, moving forward, it's about stacking those wins, but we want to stack the days first. So,
Christian, front row on your right.
Hi, Coach, over here, Christian Conway, Winsider. So we saw a lot of Angel out on the wing, and we saw her running the point forward, really showing her versatility. How do you balance that, and then also having her in the paint, since she is, you know, the leading rebounder in the league and can out rebound most players that she come up against?
yeah, I think the rebounding is always going to be there. I think that you know, the Angel's shown her dominance on the defensive and offensive glass, and so we certainly want that to maintain, you know, continue to be a part of her game. But at the same time, I think that she's got so much versatility to her that I don't think gets talked about enough. She can handle, she can pass, she can play off the bounce. Um, I've said this numerous times before, like, there are no limits to who she can be as a player, and that's what we want her to feel. That's what we want her to show that we have confidence in. We don't want to limit her just to being a rebounder, because she's so much more than that. Her potential is so much more than that, and so her ability to for our offense to flow through her in the trail, and her to be able to play more in pick and roll, and then we can find her ways to exploit her on the post as well. Like, we're going to put her all over the place. I think you saw that a little bit last game against Minnesota too. She initiated some offense at times. She had 6 assists, 5-6 assists, no turnovers. So, like, it's a glimpse of what she can be, and I have all the faith and all the belief in her. That her potential is through the roof, and we're going to get her there.
We'll go to Steve and then close out with Jason. One each, please. One each.
Hi, Tyler. Steve Greenberg, Sun-Times. Picking up on what you were just saying about Angel, you know, she's an all-star. She's one of the most famous athletes in the city. Where is she relative to the very best players in the league now at 23? And can you articulate more about what you view as the path she's on?
Yeah, I think respectfully to the question, I think that it's enough pressure on these young players to feel like they got to contribute in a way that's at the top of the league from day one. I think those pressures have been put on Angel and a lot of these rookies since the time that they've got drafted, and the reality is that they have 2 weeks to ingratiate themselves into a whole new style, a whole new dynamic, a whole new lifestyle. And it's really unfair to them to put those high expectations on them, to compare them to the likes of an Asia Wilson or a Brianna Stewart or a Nafisa Collier. Like, those are 3 of the best players in this world. And and it's not to say that the potential isn't there, but I think that we got to talk about what the incremental steps are to get to that point before we can just place that upon these players. And I think that it does them a disservice sometimes, where we take away that room for growth. We got to give them grace in who they are as a player, and we got to give them grace in who they are as professionals. And it's our job as coaches to be that for them. And so we just want to take it step by step. But again, the long-term growth of Angel and potential of Angel and Camilla and the young players that we have, it's limitless. Like, they can be two of the very best bigs in this league, and the tandems that they are together, they've already shown that they can be a force together, and they'll continue to be. But again, we got to give them the platform and the room to get there and to grow, and we don't want to put too high expectations on them too soon. But we want to be able to show them, the progress as we go year to year.
Last question from Jason on your left.
Tyler, to your left. Jeff was talking about working together with you in the offseason on roster building. I assume that's the most input you've had on personnel in your career. How close were you able to get the pieces you need to run the system you want?
I mean, I think we have the pieces. I think we have the vet leadership, we have the spacing, we have the inside presence, we have one of the best point guards to ever play this game. We have a smart team, a tough team, a physical team. We have the pieces in place to be successful. You just got to give us the time to get there. And so I don't want to put a timeline on it, but we feel good with where we're at and who we have, and we're locked into being the best version of ourselves. Come this regular season, and hopefully we continue to progress throughout the season where we can show where we can be playing our best basketball, towards the end of the year.